What's up, Rockstars? I got another news video for you. I'm going to be covering a massive amount of games. There are a ton that are available right now. Some brand new ones, not even just some. Actually, the majority of games I'm covering right now I've never even covered before. I didn't even know they were coming out, so I didn't even share them with you, but they are available right now, and I want to share that with you. There are a whole bunch of new announced ones that we're also going to go over, and then we're going to end on kind of a word of warning. There's one that's coming up that I want you guys to be very aware of and do your research on. So we're going to end on that. So let's get to it. Alright, as always, if you have anything to add to this video to share with everyone watching, feel free to leave a comment down below and let us know what cool game you're looking at or what game you're interested in or something maybe I need to look into. I'd love to hear from you. We're going to start out with the Isofarian Guard. The second printing is doing very well. It's almost at 400,000 raised and over 3,000 backers. Needless to say, the delivery of it, when it finally did deliver, it was quite a long one, has been very good. And now that they have the second printing and they're riding that wave of delivery, that's what you want to do as a game company. That you want to ride that delivery hype. And I think they're doing that quite good. So Sky Kingdom Games did a great job on this. There's a lot of people super excited about this, and I think that's awesome. The art is, as always, cool. The miniatures are always neat because, as you can see, there's two different miniatures, so that's cool. It's the same game that everybody's, kind of gushing over right now, to be honest. I know I've seen a lot of positive things on my Discord as patrons get it and kind of get into it, so that's super cool to see. And honestly, I think it's just awesome that they're doing their successful business when it comes to making these kind of games and delivering them. This is a game that wouldn't exist outside of crowdfunding. It's way too big. There's a ton of stuff here. This box is massive, massive box. As you can see, there's a ton in here. So it's really cool to see. And they have a lot of these chips. I know people love those from like Chip Theory games, have a ton of those as well. Just an overall premium look and feel to it. That's really, really cool. So that's definitely awesome. Feel free to check this out. They are doing reveals every so often. And so like this will be coming out here real soon, considering it'll like in a couple days. So it won't be right now, but feel free to check it out and it'll be there. I'll probably cover this again at least one or two more times. It does have 22 days left, so it's a very long campaign. And so we'll see kind of where that goes, especially the funding. Does it keep going up? Does it kind of ebb and flow? I'll let you guys know, and I'll remind you about it every so often. We'll definitely cover it before it ends, so I'll remind you then as well. Subscribe if you haven't. I know over half of you have not subscribed, and I will try and keep you guys updated on the latest and greatest. Next up, we have Mycelia. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. This is actually a very cool one. I know you guys are like, oh my gosh, a mushroom game? No, this actually looks kind of cool. It's kind of like... well, it's an area control game, so it's kind of like Small World where you're in like this confined area, but instead you're these like, and you have to like build out and have things connected, right? Very typical kind of stuff there. However, you have all these different actions you can do where you can move around and then, produce spores, but there's like a wind die, but then you can do abilities and stuff to, kind of get that. One of the neat things here, or to like direct the wind, is right here you kind of see the complexity of what you have to do and then the points you get based on that. And then when you retire them, which you typically spread, I think they said 2 rounds, you get to do this ability on the bottom. They'll have 3 available that they're showing you. You can pick one of those, or you can try the random one as well if you don't like those 3. It looks honestly like a lot of fun. It's all based off this triangle map, and one of the abilities is that you can add more map tiles. So each map will be different and unique in each game session, and that's super cool to see. As you can see, there's little reminders on those 2 turns that and then you recycle it. I think it looks really, really cool. I think that's actually looks like a lot of fun. And the art, I think, is gorgeous. Really cool. Obviously, fungi are a wide variety of shapes and sizes and colors and stuff like that. So it's really neat to see that. The price actually seems pretty good too. So, and the attitude of the creator is also kind of neat. So if you look over here, actually, I'll show you in the picture. I want to show you in the picture. So they show it here as well, but you get to see what you're doing. So for about $50, you get the game and you get all the components and stuff to track it all. And that seems like a solid amount. But for just a little bit more at $69, so literally just $19 more, you get the Deluxe Edition, and you get this expansion, which is kind of nice to get more cards there. You also get a nice embossed slip case and stuff like that, and the drawstrings I think are very nice as well. The bags that you're pulling things out of. The art prints, yeah, those are fine, I suppose. Then if you want to go to the Deluxe Edition art, you essentially just get like a signed art thing. That one's kind of okay for $108. They also have the Opulent Edition, which is around $763. And it is fancy. You get a nice, cool, personalized, engraved wooden box with all wooden mats and wooden tiles, and it just looks so pretty. I mean, it's amazing. Like, this looks... I would love to interact with this. I'm not going to buy it, but it definitely looks nice. So if you want to make that super nice, you can definitely have a wonderful gift to someone, I would imagine. If you know someone that's really into mushrooms or anything like that, you can definitely do that. They're unlocking stretch goals, so they're doing well there. And their final one is to actually make the insert tray made out of mushrooms, which is kind of cool too. I dig that. So anyway, that's this one. I think it's pretty neat. And I think you should definitely check it out. I dig that. They already got the $1,000 or 1,000 backers. Like I said, that's kind of a minimum thing often that they have. 72,000 raised and just going higher. So 30 days ago, we're having a lot of very long campaigns lately, and I'm going to kind of watch that. I might make a talking video on that maybe in about a month and see, okay, how did these do in these longer campaigns that aren't just pumping add-ons all the time to you. We are getting towards the spending season, the heavy Q4 stuff, and so these long campaigns do run the risk of essentially people losing interest over time because it's not the newness, right? And then seeing the new hotness and being super excited about that and dropping that. So that's kind of the risk you do with a long one, especially towards Q4, where you start getting some big, very popular campaigns that are launching. Next up, we have Hybris, Disordered Cosmos Rivalry. This is also cool to see. They're approaching 1,000 backers, 787, 98,000 raised, still 6 days left. So I might be able to cover this at the very end. Typically do one of these news videos at least once a week, and then topic videos elsewhere. But yeah, that's doing fairly good. I would like to see it a bit higher. I really liked Hybrid Disordered Cosmos. It was a really fun game, a very cool concept. The art looks awesome, and it's cool that they're adding more to it and continue to support their product. I think that's great. It's a cool way to get a game that I quite liked. Now, you can check now that they've delivered it to other people what they thought. I'm sure there's more opinions on it now than when I played the prototype, but super cool to see. And again, it just looks very, very pretty. It's a very cool looking game and a lot of fun when it comes to all the options you can do with your people. All right, next up we have Terraforming Mars. More Terraforming Mars. Actually, quite a few expansions. They're at 766,000, 6,800 raised. Still 2 weeks to go, 14 days to go. So plenty. They're adding mostly just kind of niceties and some cool things. They do have another prelude, a prelude 2. So they'll have additional cards for that. They also have milestones and awards. Again, additional cards for that. So just more Terraforming Mars. Literally, more stuff. Then they have the solo expansion. That'll be very popular, I imagine, for a lot of people. And it works with, I believe, every expansion that they have. It's cross-compatible, which is cool. And then they also have a neoprene mat pack, both the existing one and brand new ones, which is kind of cool too. So 4 new boards are also available, and those neoprene mats are going to be quite nice. I feel they look fairly samey, but when you're actually playing the game, they'll have a quite different feel because of the different layouts and stuff like that. So that's still cool to see. And yeah, you can go into each one and find out more. They're doing daily unlocks, so they're showing different things. So get some promo cards and stuff like that, some niceties there. And a whole lot of stretch or different pledges here. So I'm not going to go over them all. Just find the one that's right for you and get that one. And yeah, you're going to have to dig into it a little bit to see exactly which kind you want. I prefer campaigns that offer less pledges because while it's nice to do, it can just get confusing. And sometimes people like see all the pledges like, I don't even want to figure out which one I want and then back out. To me, that's a point of people veering off, and you don't necessarily want that. It gets kind of confusing. But at this point, there's so much Terraforming Mars, it's kind of hard to not confuse it when you can buy so much stuff of it. But if you want more, it's available. One other thing I wanted to talk about with Terraforming Mars is kind of neat to find out with Stronghold Games. Now that Kickstarter forces this, you can see what companies are actually using AI art. And it turns out Stronghold Games uses AI art in almost everything they do in some form or fashion. That was kind of interesting. I wouldn't have expected their art to really be AI driven. They must do a lot of like layout stuff and stuff like that. I think it's probably pretty changed based on, but maybe not. Maybe, a lot of this, they said everything's human touched, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I would not have looked at Stronghold Games and thought AI. Now, that's different than this other one, Build War. This one, I think, looked very AI, but also very good, like in a great way. I think the art looks fantastic in this one. Now, this is actually kind of interesting because I would have backed this game before even clicking record on this video, just looking at it, doing the research for this video. However, the shipping killed it for me. Oh my gosh, the shipping is insane. So we're going to discuss that. for now, they're actually doing quite well. 56,000 raised, 652 backers. I think that's awesome. These Japanese creators are really starting to like really show up in a really cool way. And I think that's awesome because they have such a different style of how they're even doing campaigns, how their art looks, their UI, all of that is so foreign to a lot of the more Western stuff that's created that we look at. I think it's cool. It's super neat. But at least for this one, shipping. Oh my gosh. So yeah, we'll talk about it. So what is this Build War? It's essentially a deck building game that you play all simultaneously, where you're drafting and then playing the cards, and you have your hand in your deck and you can swap between those. It looks actually really cool. They actually go into a very good, focus on the gameplay, which I appreciate. I really do. I think that's awesome that they have that. And as you can see, the AI art here, I mean, this art is just good. And it's not, I imagine it's not 100% AI art. Most AI art isn't 100%. Often you touch it up and you can elevate it real quick, real easy. But it looks really, really good. I love the style that this is. And as you can see, again, very focused on the gameplay. I very much appreciate that for any of these games when you're actually showing the gameplay and excited about your game as opposed to their product for sale. So that's always kind of cool. And you can feel free to look into this. The only thing I'm always concerned about with these games is the translation and how that works. Just because when the languages are so different and their structure often, not just in obviously their words, that often can be a bit rough. If you get languages that are kind of more related, it's typically a lot easier. So I don't know how it's going to be on this one. $35 to start out with, and then if you want the big mamma jamma, 82. Honestly, I would back the complete pledge. I would get this because it's essentially this minus a few stretch goals, but you also get the 4 playmats, and those playmats were the ones I showed up here when I was looking at the art, and I think they look great, and they'd certainly help because they do have where you put all the cards and stuff. So that's the one I would recommend, and it's not a bad price for 4 of them. I think that's pretty good, considering it's like full art and stuff like that. Looks great. So the stretch goals, they're showing off all those. You can go and take a look at them. I want to go and skip over most of them, mostly just more cards. And then we're going to go to shipping because this is kind of, I think, the one bummer. Oh, and to talk about how, like, the art, like, they have done fantastic art. This artist is super great. He's actually using AI art because he's, like, super busy right now. So he's like, hey, I'm just going to do this AI stuff. I think that's kind of neat. So shipping, $54 to the US. I don't know why it's $54. I can't fathom a reason why it'd be $54. I feel like they could ship it themselves for less than $54. I've been shipping a lot of games out for my fundraiser that I do every year, and I've been doing it to people all over the world. I haven't done any to Japan specifically, but unless there's some oddities around shipping to Japan, which I wouldn't think so because half of our electronics are from there, I don't understand why. And I'm like, why is the standard and complete the same? So it doesn't cost any more to do the Rheber. It's just weird. I don't get it. Canada's the same way. Canada's often higher. I don't know what the deal is with them, and I don't know if there's fees or port things or something like that. So Canada's often more expensive. US at 54 pretty much means most people from the US are not going to back your game. And that's super unfortunate because I think a lot of us would really enjoy that. I know I would enjoy this game. And if the shipping was different, I would back it in a heartbeat. But maybe you live in a country with a little bit nicer shipping there, in which case everything is linked down in the description below. Moving on, the strange forgeries of Mr. S.C. Rheber. This one I'm only going to cover briefly. It's 4,000 raised, 51 backers, so 31 days left. Again, these long campaigns, we're doing a lot of those. This is definitely a unique look, that is for sure. It's also a unique game. So unique, in fact, that I will have to do more research to even figure out what's going on with it. So let's talk about it briefly, and maybe you guys can let me know. I would love to hear from you. As you can tell, the style of the art is wild. It is definitely different than anything you own. I pretty much guarantee it. So what, like, it's like his hat on his abdomen there. Like, that's just great. Okay, so, I'm not going to get through all that. As you can see, you get like Post-it note sheets. So like, okay, what's going on there? And why are they like $10.99 for, I guess you get 1,400 of them. So quite a bit. You're like drawing and doing stuff, I guess. But the weird thing isn't so much the drawing. It's this right here, games of induction. It says here that only 38 out of more than 10 or 100,000 existing games are a game of induction, and that this one is even unique among those. So what's going on with that? I don't know, but they do allow, look, that they even have a list of all games of induction. So what is a game of induction? Essentially, it's a game where you discover the rules. Again, what that necessarily entails, I haven't read into that more. If you know this like super niche genre I would love to hear. Please explain it to us. We'd all love to hear. Here that 3,000 worker placement games, around 40 induction games. So it seems, what is it, worker placement then? But it looked like you were drawing. You have a game master and you have other people, and the game master makes a secret rule, and it can be literally any rule, it sounds like, and the game master is competing with you. So it's like a game master in the sense that they made a rule, but also they're a player. So look, it is different. And I appreciate that. This is literally why stuff like GameFound, why stuff like Kickstarter, why crowdfunding and board games are so cool, because you can possibly make this. Now, will they? I'm not so sure. They need 10,000. They still need a long way to go, but they still can. I think they need to get the word out more and how this game actually plays in a little bit of an easier format. But so far, it's definitely the most unique thing I've probably ever covered. Next up, Unreliable Wizard. You guys were rock stars as always and explained this to me. Essentially, this was a game made in Japan that now is being made outside of Japan and in a much bigger way. And definitely 1,500 backers, almost 40,000 raised. So 26 days ago. Long campaigns, guys. Like a month long. Crazy. So as you can see, it's a micro solitaire game where you are fighting enemy minions and gathering new magic spells in order to save the princess. And it seems to be doing really well. It's definitely styled like a video game kind of style, or a little retro style. It even has like a kind of almost a UI, which is pretty neat. The pixel art does look pretty endearing. They even have pixel meeples. Also kind of interesting. I've often wondered how pixel miniatures would work, and I don't think they work quite as well, but pixel meeples, I think that could definitely work. Also, look at that. You even get like sleeves and stuff like that. Super cool to see. So feel free to check this out. They do go into the gameplay quite well, which is awesome. And honestly, it's like not that much. If you go to the rewards here, $24.10 for the expansion. For the base game, $16.43. Come on, that is cheap, and you can get what looks to be a pretty unique game for that price. So not too bad. So feel free to check that out. Also, again, link down in the description below. Dark Domain 2nd Edition. If you've played the original one, this one's better. If you haven't played the original one, this one's great. If you have the original one and you're upset about this, they say it's still great. You can enjoy your original as much as you always have. But apparently they've made some changes, and I think that's pretty cool. They do say it's a dark fantasy. However, that is one of the brightest fantasy boards actually, I think, in existence. And so it's not too dark, if that makes sense in that sense. It's not like grim dark anyway. It just it's slightly dark over here, I suppose. This is like the Mordor area. Anyway, there's a lot here, and again, there's a lot you can also look at for the game because it has been out as a first edition, but there is a fair bit of changes here. So I'm not going to go over all the list here just because I'm not an expert on it. I don't want to lead you guys astray, but if you're interested, feel free to check it out. Next up, we have Guilty Gear Strive, the board game. I covered this before, and I'm covering it again now just because it's 4 days left to go. So it's probably the last reminder I have for you guys here. Again, link down in the description below. Almost 2,000 backers. It's getting up there, and I imagine once it hits the 48 hour, it very much will jump to at least 2,000 backers. 326,000 raised out of the 150 goal. And honestly, I mean, it looks like it's pretty big. Like when they were talking about, like, look, this is a big box. There's quite a bit. And that's because you get actually quite a few fighters here. And I really, 20 characters to play, 190 unique matchups. I really appreciate that. Skirmish games or competitive games are made or broken based off the amount of times you can actually play it. And if you only include, a lot of these FPS games are doing that, 2 characters that go after each other, you're going to get bored of doing that over and over again, even if you can build them differently. But when you have that much of a variety, that's really cool. That's awesome. Over 695 cards. So it's not super heavy card. However, that is a lot of cards. Everybody gets their own tuck boxes. I hate tuck boxes. That's unfortunate. But, however, you even get the Neoprene double stitched playmat. So it's like a really fancy playmat on top of that. So not too bad at all. And all of that for $99. Not a bad intro to it. Let me know if you think I would enjoy this game or not. I do love card games. I do love the style. I think that looks super cool. I love competitive card games and whatnot. So maybe this is something for me. However, it looks like a game I could spend a ton of money on too. As you can see, those prices just keep going up, right? $500 for the Ultimate Collection. And that isn't even actually all that ultimate. At least it's not complete. Anyway, there's a lot here. Feel free to check it out. $99 though, that actually seems like not a bad deal at all. I think before I'd said it kind of felt like it was. Changed my mind on that. And it helped to see the size of the box, just how big of a game this actually is. Next up, Body of Evidence, the Murder Mystery Autopsy game. This is rough. So 1,500 backers, that's awesome. 84,000 raised. It looks like a super unique game. It's called Body of Evidence. Obviously you have to be okay with cutting open a body. You literally like cut open the paper and fold it back and stuff like that. So it's definitely, it's one of those experience games. And in fact, this mysterious package company, what they do is like escape plans and stuff like that. It's like a murder mystery where you're gonna like find more stuff and all that. The reason I'm talking high levels is because that's all they talk about too. You don't even see everything you get in this game. At least not here. They don't show it at all. So it's kind of difficult. As you can see, they have all these other kind of puzzle-ish style games, these experience games that seem very, very cool. I think it's a nice, it's not even like a fad, but a nice like new genre that's kind of introduced lately where you get these games that are almost like odds and ends of stuff, and you have to kind of figure out the game and solve the puzzle of the game, which is a very neat thing to do. And I think an autopsy murder mystery, perfect for that genre. But they don't do a great job of showing you what you get. So you can read about it and they talk about it a lot, and that's kind of cool. But I just scrolled through the whole thing, and as you can see, you don't ever even get a list of everything you get. So it's kind of hard to say what you're buying as well. Feel free to check it out though. A lot of people I think are excited about it. I think it'd be a cool experience. I'm sure it's going to be neat. They could just show it off a little bit better. Worms, a board game, 433,000. So right around where I covered it last time, 3,646 save backers, and 7 days still to go. So a week left to go. I might be able to cover this again towards the very end. So there will be a reminder. Again, subscribe if you have not subscribed before. Definitely worthwhile. Try to make it worth your while. Their unlocks actually are adding some nice variety, especially with the hex tiles. You now have a fantasy and sci-fi version. I'm a big fan of that. So that's good to see that they are changing things a little bit there. They also have like fire tokens and whatnot. But overall, they're not, doing a huge amount of stuff. Stuff like, okay, you can get a battle axe now, or you have now sound effects and a turn timer app. So they're definitely adding more stuff, which is cool, but not like game-changing stuff either. Still mostly the game that you look at when you see the rest of the game. Just some enhancements, which I actually support as a way to kind of scale with a responsible scope, where you're not just promising the moon, right? That's obviously not what you want to necessarily do. Next up, we have Ivion Season 3 Crossroads. I have covered every Ivion, and I still don't quite know how it plays. What throws me off is the map that you play on. Doesn't seem like a normal card game map. So if you have more information or a good source of how to play this, do let us know. I'd love to know. People have been enjoying this for a long time, and they sing the praises a lot, and it's been enough to have, again, 3 seasons of it. And it's pretty cheap. So these are both all pairing 1-to-1, but you can obviously combine them together. But it's a fairly cheap 1-to-1. So it's the $39 for a Clash pack. And then if you want all of them, the season pass, again, $100, and you get all 6 of those. So that's actually not too bad. 6 is a pretty good deal. And 99, it's under 100. That's not too bad either, especially because you're getting a lot more than just cards. You are getting the minis, you are getting the maps, and each one comes with that, the different trays and tokens and stuff like that. So there's definitely some good stuff there, but it's essentially a competitive card game. They call it a hero crafting card game. Kind of a fun term. And yeah, people have been enjoying this for a while. So I think that's super cool. 20 days still to go. And 319 backers, so still a lot of growth potential. It's always been kind of that like undersung indie endeavor that just keeps on coming. So I think that's pretty neat, but it's nothing I've really driven into myself. Next up, To the Moon, Bestest of Memories. No stretch goals involved here. A lot of swag if you want that. If you are a fan of the video game, you might be interested in this. I loved the video game. One of my favorite video games I've played. The story is fantastic, and it hits home very closely. 6 days still left to go, so I might not cover this again for you guys. I'll try and see what I can do for a last minute. Hey, by the way, this is still available, but it is available. Link down in the description below, of course. 2,200 backers, 179,000 raised. Obviously, there's a lot of love for this game, and it looks like a nice little game that you can kind of, go through the memories and stuff like that. And again, the swag is real here, guys. They have a ton of different stuff that you can get. As you can see, pins and shirts and all sorts of stuff. I would love a shirt, so maybe I can find a shirt afterwards. I don't necessarily want to do a huge pledge for it, but I wouldn't mind a To the Moon shirt for sure. All right, this next segment is going over the games that are about to launch or are coming out here real soon, so we'll cover some of that. A lot of them new, so that's exciting. A lot of them just announced, actually. And then some news at the very end. So, starting things out with Mythic Mischief Volume 2, an already outstanding game just leveled up. Now, nobody actually talks like that. That's not like normal. Like, you don't just go to your buddy and be like, an already awesome game. That's obviously a marketing term, but it is blind, kind of the general sentiment I get that a lot of people really love love this game. I've not played it yet. If you think I would like it, let me know, please. I would love to see if I need to look into this or not. It's a very asymmetric game, and they're adding 4 new factions, which is super cool. It comes out September 12th, 2023. Now, this is a sign-up page, which means you're giving them your actual email, stuff like that. Companies love that because then they can email you about all sorts of other stuff, everything else they do. So you're really signing up to be notified of anything this company does versus necessarily just Mythic Mischief. It tends to be how it goes. But honestly, with Kickstarter updates, half the time they're messaging you about other stuff too, so it is whatever. Though you can even give them your phone number if you want them texting you. Very minimal, as you can see, game presence, which, you know, some people enjoy and some people don't. It's easy on the setup, it's easy on the storage, but it's not necessarily that it's super immersive either, right, when it comes to that. So have a toss-up either or. They have some great pictures. So they end up TPing everything. I don't know why there's so much toilet paper to advertise the game. That seems kind of weird. They're adding gargoyles, fairies, gnomes, and werewolves. And again, they're all supposedly quite asymmetric when it comes to the things you can do. So that's super cool to see. And yeah, let me know what you think about this. Is this something that would be of interest to me? Minus the toilet paper, it might be kind of cool. I'd love to let, either way, September 12th, I'll look at it. So we'll find out together if nothing else. Next up, we also have the Hoplomachus, I think is how you say it, Pandora's box expansions, plus the base game reprints. So there's, as you can see, several different expansions here, depending on what you own, and they kind of have a guide here, or what you're trying to expand, you can back different ones. So that's super helpful, though they're all kind of themed around the same thing. However, they do have that game reprint, so you'll be able to actually get into the game if that's what you want as well. This launches in 4 days, guys, so like real soon here. So again, everything's linked down below. The next time I cover this, it'll actually be live, so we'll look at it together and see what Chip Theory Games has on offer. Now, Chip Theory Games actually has this like feast thing going on GameFound right now. So they also announced their 20-strong Tanglewoods expansions. They have 3 new decks in here. I believe the original only had 2. The 2 mini bones and then some like sci-fi custom one I think they did. So the fact that they have 3 in this one shows obviously a lot of support, which is super cool. I love when a company like supports their games, not just a one and done, one off, I don't care anymore, especially when it comes to a series like this, right? Where it's look at these small kind of box expansion almost kind of things. That being said, I've heard nobody talk about this game at all. Now, that just could be my little bubble in the board game space, right? So if you have played 20 Strong, if you enjoy it or don't enjoy it, let me know. Or if you heard other things, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Generally, Chip Theory Games is very good, but I haven't heard any buzz around that. Like, even I did in Burn Cycle even. So it's kind of interesting that I haven't heard really, I'm assuming the first one delivered. I don't even know. Like, I have heard nothing. So let me know. I think it's awesome. I think that's super cool. And I love these kind of cheaper, smaller little games that you can do. I think it's cool. And I think it helps a company that runs a lot of stuff on campaigns to be able to do these kind of quick and easy things, relatively speaking, compared to some of their bigger stuff. They also announced Wroth. I hope I'm saying that right. The art on here looks super cool. I do dig that. It says it's a new mid-weight faction-driven area control game of dice drafting. I like all of those things, minus the dice drafting quite as much. It's not super exciting for me. This is coming out later, so spring 2024. This is like probably their next big one. And again, the art style is really cool. Definitely stands out. And I do appreciate that. Like, that looks different than any other thing on my shelves. And that's awesome. It says it'll feature solo, cooperative, and PvP game modes. We don't know too much more than that. It says faction-driven area control. I mean, everything we know is like right here. So we'll find out more, of course, as they progress to it. And I'll cover that as news comes out. I'm sure they'll have updates and stuff like that. But yeah, if nothing else, it looks pretty interesting. It definitely looks unique. All right, next up we have Aces and Armor. This is essentially Axis and Allies, right? This is World War II stuff going on here. It says, command your tanks, aircraft, and troops through epic battles in World War II, launching on Kickstarter soon. What soon means, I don't know, but it looks pretty cool. A patron of mine shared this, and I'm appreciative of that, because some of these games actually look pretty cool. I'm a big RTS fan, and so I really like this almost reminds me of like World at War and stuff like that, right? So you have this big map, and you have the tanks and the airplanes going. It's almost like moving those pieces. You know, you always see them like pushing the things on the little war map, kind of like that, but more detailed. Hex-based movement by the looks of it, so that's pretty cool. It doesn't look like there's a lot of, it looks like it's all art-based. I'm iffy on that. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. I'm like, oh, this tile is this hex is this is inside the town versus outside the town. It looks like they keep the art pretty good, right? Where like the buildings aren't going quite over, or even the shape of the forests look fairly hex-based. Though then there's the one like is this part of the town or is it not? So sometimes I struggle with that if they don't put like outlines or symbols or something like that. So kind of toss around on that. Also, I think the map looks honestly a tiny bit generic to me, a little bit generic to me. I don't know necessarily. I think there might be multiple maps though. I'm not sure I see that here. I mean, it looks like it would maybe be right here perhaps, but I don't see this blending in of the river, right? Maybe there's multiple maps. That'd be kind of interesting. It says cooperative and competitive and a solo mode. So that's pretty cool. I dig that. It says it's a highly complex strategy game, yet very easy and intuitive to learn the rules. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Complex is different than like nuanced, right? So if it's a nuanced strategy game, in other words, if it's a deep strategy game, you can really think through your options and stuff. A complexity, though, like a complex thing, is inherently complex, right? I mean, if it's super easy to explain, how complex is it? Maybe it's semantics to me, but that's how I read that. Let me know if I'm maybe off base on my semantics. Perhaps I am. I think we all kind of come into this. And honestly, the description of board games is kind of lackluster. Like, we just covered that other artsy one, right? That had the, like, inclusion or whatever it was. Like, some weird genre of stuff. Like what even is that? Or, like, what's dudes on a map versus area control, right? Stuff like that can get kind of weird. Either way, yeah, it says detailed miniatures. The miniatures actually look pretty good. I don't know the scale. It looks pretty small if a tank is within a hex, or this is a really big game. Hopefully it's not too big, and I'm okay with a little bit smaller ones. When it comes to like tanks and airplanes, stuff like that, you can get pretty detailed at pretty small things. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, it says fast scanning gameplay. It looks pretty cool. It looks like their old stuff is done pretty well, so definitely interested in that. I don't know what what are these? What are these? They're not holding anything up. Like, what is that? Is that so? I don't know. I don't know what those are. It looks like everything has that though. Maybe you can be on the same. I wonder if you can be like in the air and on land on the same tile, because I bet that's what it is. So in other words, you could mount these guys onto this and be on the, maybe that'd be kind of cool. I dig that. You would think they'd move at different speeds. Oh, anyway, whatever. I don't know. We'll find out. Next up, we have Haunted Halloween, the Trick or Treat board game. I showed this. I actually don't know if they're launching this now, but I'm assuming they will be real soon here. These people typically do like D&D stuff, but they're actually working with a 9-year-old girl, which is adorable, to make this kind of family-friendly haunted house Halloween trick-or-treat party game kind of thing. That looks like a lot of fun. You got a spin dial and stuff like that. Look, we might kind of scoff at this a little bit, like, oh, it's a game, I don't want to do that. But if you got kids, you guys know kids love this kind of stuff. They really do. Most kids, I mean, not all kids, but my kids would have been all over this. They're a little older now. I have one that would probably be interested in this. But otherwise, they're all teenagers now. Oh, man. Please pray for me. I spend so much money on food. Anyway, you guys don't care. But I think it's really cool. So I wanted to share that. If you guys have kids, especially younger children, this might be something you want to get. It's always kind of weird because you want to launch around Halloween, obviously. But does that mean you deliver like in spring of next year? Like I don't know the delivery thing on this. That'll be the big question. That'll be something I'll be looking at. Is like, is this a quick turnaround? But you don't necessarily want this like Christmas either. Maybe you do. I don't know. But, so always kind of a weird thing there. Maybe it's like exactly a year and it delivers next October. That'd be kind of cool, I suppose. All right. Next up, we have League of Dungeoneers expansion and second reprint. Guys, this has really kind of exploded. 18 days still to go. So I'll cover this again, but over 7,000 people are following this. This is definitely a lot of kind of hype over this. And I think that's really cool that it shows that these like old school traditional gaming experiences are still desirable. So a lot of you guys that really want that. I wish I had the nostalgia you guys did on this kind of stuff. I am very new to gaming compared to some of you guys who got like decades, right? So like for me, it was like Monopoly and Sorry and Clue. And I played a lot of those. I've always been interested in board games because I thought that was board games. I didn't have Hero Quest or anything cool like that. I had nothing until actually fairly recently, just the last, handful of years, about 5-6 years. So very cool that they're offering this. I love that they are, and I'm glad that people are excited for it. As you can see, it's a hefty game. I mean, this is old school, right? You guys are tracking all sorts of stats and stuff, and I think that's awesome. That's cool. Also, they have, I don't know what's on this base, but I love the fact that they have these like little bases which what look like tiny animals on it. I dig that as well. Anyway, tons of videos for you guys as well. Again, this is a second printing, so it's a known quantity thing. Like, you know exactly what you're getting into, so feel free to do your research. And again, link down in the description below. We're almost done here. I wanted to warn you guys about something. Not this game. This game, came out of nowhere. Actually funded fairly well, almost 7,000 in funding. Not bad. 142 backers, considering it didn't quite fund to the 8,000, and they did eventually cancel it. I actually was going to report on this before it canceled, and literally when I went to go record, they canceled it. So I've saved it to kind of this video, just to kind of show you, because they linked another way. Anyway, use so much AI art. Seemed like a cool idea. You don't see any of the cards closely. And literally, it's so weird. Their first update, a third funded in 5 days. They announced a new project. And they said, I almost did no preparation before launching this campaign. Why would you say that? Like, that's just a terrible thing. Like, you're asking for people's money. Act like you respect that, right? This is not just focused on you and what money you can get, or that you can even make this game. When you're asking money from other people, it then is now this like thing where you need to think about both sides. And it's very hard to do. It's very hard for us often to think about developers. And it's very often hard for developers to think about us, because you're in fundamentally different spots in the same industry. Even if you do both, you now have an understanding that most don't of one side or the other, right? If that makes sense. So, anyway, I think that's just a terrible thing to say. Like, you respect the people that are, I mean, even without funding, like $7,000 is what people were going to give you for an idea you had. Literally, it was like, I just had an idea out there and just tossed it out there. Don't be casual with this. Please be responsible and respectful of the backers that you might or might not get. Anyway, they announced a second project, which is like, who does that? Like, I don't even know. And what's weird is like, it's written completely different. If you go to the campaign on this one, everything is like kind of jokey, and everything is very much an I did this, I did that, I'm going to do that. It's so funny. He said like, I will be super communicative with my backers, including weekly updates plus additional updates as I feel necessary. They never spoke again after that one update. Literally, they said nothing for a long time. So that's kind of funny. Obviously, that was a lie. But it was literally just this weird thing. And again, it's all AI stuff going on here too. Now, they linked to this, Cypresses. So I'm warning you on this one. Just now you know the history of what's going on. And this Mason Ween guy said this as well. This one, it's all we. It's as if there's like other things. In fact, in this one, you might have seen this in the update. I see it launched all the way back on the 10th of August. So like a long time ago. I didn't even tell my family, right? So I don't know what the situation of his family is. If he's just like moved out of his parents' house but lives alone, then that's super easy. Just didn't like go tell your parents that live far away. If you like live with like a spouse and children or something like that, that's where like are you in secret over here like designing a card game and not telling? Like, I don't understand that at all. But it seems like he just had an AI idea and threw it on here and then funded some money. This one though, they talk about like playtesters and doing this and doing that, and the playtests sound terrible. It's like, we let them do everything. Like, it doesn't sound good, guys. Just know all this is AI art. They say they're going to change it. I don't know when they're going to launch that. This is one of the weirdest how to play. They even say this isn't quite a copy of the full rulebook. First of all, this is not a rulebook at all. This is one of the weirdest marketing things I've ever seen. What you're going to see here is a whole bunch of but wait. Wrong. And the reason you're seeing that is because what it says is, it might be a cool idea to do this. No, it wouldn't. Or maybe it'd be cool to do this. No, it wouldn't. Or maybe, but no, it wouldn't. And that's literally all that it's the weirdest thing. It's not even close to a rule book. If that is not quite the full rule, I don't even know what they're talking about. Just do your research. Don't just look at pictures, because again, none of these are going to be there, right? This is all AI art, right? This is the only time you ever see maps in this thing. It's just not good. But considering that just this idea got him 7,000, I just want to make sure to let you guys know the history of this and what's going on with this. If you see this, if you see anything made by him, or just use your best judgment. I'm not saying to back it or not to buy it. You guys make your own decision with your own money, of course. But I want you guys to be informed. So there you are, informed. Guys, I hope you appreciated this video. I hope you found it helpful. That's why I made it. If you did, let me know in the comments below. Literally, that's why I do this. Or if nothing else, like the video so I know that it was actually helpful. That helps me so much and drives me to make more and more for you guys. If you would like to support, of course, there is Patreon. There's that join button, or maybe just watch without an ad blocker if you're crazy. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. I just am glad that you watched this. I'm glad that you're now more informed, and hopefully I showed you something that might seem a little cool, or warned you against something that maybe you would have fallen for, or it wouldn't have been a good fit for you. I'm happy with that too. Guys, have a great rest of your day. Talk to you guys in real soon. I have a great unboxing and several reviews to show you guys, and a top 10 list is coming up, so stay tuned for that. Plus a big name IP game. It's gonna, like, I'm under NDA. I cannot tell you guys yet, but I will as soon as I can, and it's gonna be super cool, so stay tuned for that as well. Guys, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye, guys.